Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We'll just give it a few minutes, give people some time to come in, and then we'll get started. So we had about 100 people sign up for this session. We're at about 30 now, so we'll give it a few more minutes. All right, I got 11:04. We'll start right at 11:05. Okay. Andrew, you good to go? All right. Well, welcome everyone. This is the Accounting for Sustainability International Case Competition 2021 information session. My name is Alex Forstner. I am a student at the Rotman School of Management at the University of Toronto and one of the organizers for this event. I'm also joined by Andrew Kornel, who's with CPA Canada and A4S, and he'll be talking a bit about the event as well. And next slide. Just a quick overview. The A4S International Case Competition brings student teams from across the globe together to pitch innovative business models which create value through sustainability. to industry professionals. Our judges are experts, entrepreneurs, and executives who are committed to incorporating sustainability into the core business models of their organizations. We're going into the 4th year of the case competition. We started in 2018, where we asked teams for their ideas on improving cities and making cities more sustainable. In that year, the winning team was the Indian School of Business, with their idea that incorporated hempcrete, so this material that was hemp and concrete for building schools, or as a building material. 2 years ago in 2019, we asked teams for innovative technologies to improve sustainability. And the John Molson School of Business at Concordia University won first place with their idea that captured methane and produced electricity from that. And second place was the National University of Singapore. Last year, we asked teams for their ideas on improving and scaling up sustainable finance. And the first place team was the Rotman School of Management, and the second place was the National University of Singapore. And here we are now for this year's event, and you're all here to learn a bit more about it. Just so everybody knows that this session is being recorded, so you can view it again, or if you know anybody who wasn't able to make it, let them know that it is being recorded, and we'll post it both on the website, and I think we'll also have a link to it on our Facebook page, so everybody will be able to access it. This is a brief agenda about what we'll be going over today. I'll pass it off shortly to Andrew, who will talk about A4S and provide a bit of an introduction. We'll go over the case challenge to provide some ideas of what we're asking of you. We'll provide a timeline of key events throughout between now and the actual competition. We'll go over the deliverables of what we're expecting of you at the various stages of the competition. We'll provide some insights on what's important and how you can put together a good presentation and a good pitch and a good package. We have a bit of advice from some past teams, and then we'll finally end off with Q&A. But before we go any further, we've prepared a poll. So Annabelle, if you would be able to put that together and send that out. And we're just curious as to where everybody is studying. We know we have participation from people all over the place, and we like to get an idea of where we're getting out to. And I've never been on this end of a poll. It's fascinating to see all the numbers coming in. All right, so we've got 26 out of 30 people who've responded. Give it a few more seconds, and then we'll close it up and move forward. Okay, let me put it over here so there we go. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, everyone. So just a quick summary. We have about 50% of our viewers who are studying in Canada. We've got about 5% in the US, almost 40% in Europe, 5% in Asia, and then also 5% in South America. That's fantastic. Thank you. I don't think we've had a team from South America in the past, so thank you for joining us, and hopefully we catch your attention and you're able to participate in this year's event. Moving forward, I'm going to pass this over to Andrew Kornel right now, who will talk to you about A4S and provide an introduction into this year's event. So Andrew, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you, Alex, and hello, everybody. My name is Andrew Kornel. I'm the chapter project manager of the Canadian chapter of the A4S CFO Leadership Network, and I've been fortunate enough to work on this case competition since the beginning. So what I'll do is I want to talk a little bit about what A4S is, what our aims are, who we reach out to, and what type of networks and what type of work we produce before, as Alex mentioned, get into a quick intro of the competition before passing it back to Alex to get into the nitty-gritty of it. But a little bit about A4S. So A4S was started in 2004 by His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales to ultimately make sustainable business as usual. So as you can see behind me, there is a banner with our aims, and our aims for A4S are to inspire finance leaders, to transform financial decision-making, and to scale up action by integrating sustainability through the role of the finance and the accounting community. So who do we reach out to? Our audiences at A4S are, of course, the CFO and their finance teams, investors and capital markets, governments and regulators, the global accounting community, and last but not least, business schools and academia. So this competition is really our opportunity to connect with the global business school as well as the global academic community. So some of the networks we work with are the Accounting Bodies Network. So the Accounting Bodies Network is comprised of global accounting bodies ranging from Japan to South Africa, all the way up here in Canada, where in that network, there are 2.5 million accountants covered. And really the idea is how do you integrate sustainability into how accountants are trained and what we do professionally. Then recently there was the Asset Owners Network, which was launched, and that is comprised of chairs of UK pension funds largely. There are plans to expand, but right now the idea of that network is how can we make pension schemes and pension funds inherently sustainable and offer solutions to the benefactors that sign up to those funds. And then of course, which is why I'm here, which is the CFO Leadership Network. The CFO Leadership Network was launched, I think, in 2013 or 14 in Europe. There are chapters out of Europe, the US, and in Canada. And in Canada, the chapter was launched in 2017 and is run in partnership with the Chartered Professional Accountants of Canada, or CPA Canada. So now with a little bit of background about what A4S is, I'll get into a quick introduction about the competition itself. So Alex, you can just flip over, please. Thank you. So here you'll see the sponsors for our competition. You'll note Brookfield and Ontario Teachers are members of the Canadian chapter of the CFO Leadership Network. And again, brought to you by Chartered Professional Accountants of Canada, who we operate the Canadian chapter in partnership with A4S based in London. So what's really unique about these organizations is they've been leaders in sustainability since the term even existed. I think inherently they're long-term investors with a long-term view for value creation, and specifically with CPA Canada under a legacy body issued its first environmental reporting guidance in 1991. So as a profession, this is something that we've been working towards for quite some time. Now, quickly to just wrap up, there is a annual event hosted by His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, the A4S Summit. The A4S Summit is a global opportunity for senior finance leaders to come together and learn and share and frankly be issued challenges from folks to be able to how can we progress sustainability and integration of sustainability. So this year being 2020, we're doing it virtually across a two-week time frame. And there is an opportunity for you to hear from the Vice Chair of Brookfield Asset Management, Brian Lawson, who sat down with Helen Slinger, the Executive Director of A4S, to talk a little bit about this competition and what it means to Brian, what it means to the organizations, as well as the case topic that Alex will get into. So if you are curious, there should be some information into the chat. As well, if you want to learn more about the summit itself and more of the practical guidance that A4S produces for finance professionals by finance professionals, I encourage you all to go to a4s.org and check out the Knowledge Hub to download the Essential Guide series, and keep an eye on those through the newsletter for more guidance that we'll be producing in the coming months and years. So with that, Alex, thank you, and just to everybody, just looking forward to another great competition. As Alex said, we have 3 successful years that have been growing, so we're looking forward to progressing this and taking it to the next level. So Alex, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Andrew. And there you go. So the case challenge. So the world has changed a lot. The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted every individual, organization around the world, and has posed novel challenges to the way that we live and work. And while we focus our efforts on recovering from the health, economic, and social crises that we've seen in 2020, we must also look ahead to the impending emergency presented by climate change. So what we're focusing on for this year is to ask how the lessons from the COVID pandemic can inform robust supply chains to prepare them for the social and environmental challenges and opportunities presented by climate change. We're looking for your ideas on how we can make our supply chains better, more reliable, more resilient, more robust, while at the same time addressing the importance and the impending need for action presented by climate change. And so we're looking for, as you can kind of see by that Venn diagram, your ideas that are at the center of that. That doesn't mean that we don't want you to consider other aspects. If you can find solutions that also address other environmental or social challenges, please try to incorporate those. We're looking for the best ideas that can have the greatest impact. They're also real business solutions. And just before I go any further, I just want to talk a bit about the timeline. So here we are today, November 13th, the information session. We've talked a bit about the case in our, or not, I guess not talk, but we sent out information on the case through a few emails and publicized it. Following this session, we're going to have a detailed case package that will be posted on our website, and we'll send an email out to everybody who subscribes. So we do encourage everybody who's here, if you haven't done so already, please go to the website and subscribe to the email list. We'll do a lot of our communication through that. That case package will provide a lot of the details and even a bit more detail than we're providing here today on what you can do for your application. As Andrew was talking about earlier, on December the 17th, the A4S is having a summit. And on the 7th, there's a panel session with Brian Lawson, who will be talking about the case competition. So I encourage you all to register and tune in for that talk. Applications are due January 30th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's going to be midnight here. And I know there are participants from around the world. I believe that's GMT or UTC, depending how you want to use that, -5. So we're 5 hours behind Central Time Zone. A few weeks afterwards, in mid-February, we'll notify the teams that will be advancing to the finals. The finals will require a video submission as well as a PowerPoint deck. And those submissions are due on March 18th. And that will provide some time for some of the judges to review the applications. We'll be hosting a virtual welcome and networking session on the evening of March 26th. And I know the evening for some people on a Friday may be difficult to attend. We're doing our best to try and accommodate the time zones. But if you can make it out, that would be fantastic. And then during the day, so morning to early afternoon of March 27th, which is a Saturday, we'll have the final round presentations, and the judges will deliberate and announce the winners on that same day. The deliverables. Now that we've released the case to you, teams are being asked to go and brainstorm their ideas that address a resilient supply chain and also how they're going to tackle climate change issues. They're being asked to submit a single-page team outline, so who are your team members, and why is your team ideally suited for the competition? Secondly, the teams are also being asked to submit an executive summary of your idea. So outline your model to enhance supply chain resiliency and how is it impacting climate change. The ideas that you present, it's important that you focus on some of these key criteria. The first one is make sure you're tied to the case topic. We're focusing on supply chains and climate change. It's important that you address these issues. If you aren't focused onto the theme and the topic of this year, it'll be very hard to evaluate your proposal and allow it to proceed to the next stage. We want ideas that are financially viable and that have viable business models. Being overly reliant on government subsidies or other programs that aren't part of a competitive business is not something we're looking for. We're looking for ideas that are, solid business ideas. We want to see an outline for growth into the future. And we'd like to see model uniqueness. We want you to think outside of the box, to find opportunities that maybe others don't see, that are kind of hidden between the gaps, or those blue ocean ideas. We want to see environmental and social impact. We want to see supporting data. So as you're putting forward your ideas, we want to see data to support that it's a viable business, but we also want to see how you're going to measure that impact and determine that you're actually making those changes. And lastly, professionalism. From the package that you submit, how it looks, how it's presented, to your presentation. So these will be the criteria that all submissions will be evaluated. Going on to the next set of deliverables, as mentioned earlier, the first round is just an executive summary with a description of your team. The teams that proceed to the finals will be asked to submit a 15-minute video presentation and slide deck. Please stick to the timeline. We can't, just to be fair, we can't allow anybody to go over. So if you are a bit longer, we will cut the presentations off at 15 minutes. Be sure that your financial model for the business is available in the deck that you submit, or if not, in the appendix of that deck. The judges want to have an understanding of your thinking and how the model is actually working. So that will provide them some good insights. And obviously the judges will be given a copy of your slide deck, as well as they'll be given a copy of your executive summary. So they'll be able to see your thought process going through. Now, one question that we often do get, so I'll preempt it, is can you change your idea in between? If you submit your executive summary in January and you decide as you go a bit deeper and you want to change your idea, that is okay. Just be clear in your presentation that you are changing it, but it is important that you are sticking within the theme of the overall competition. So what's important? I got a few notes here just to make sure that I don't miss anything. Let me just pull that up. It's important that you're telling a compelling story, the framework of which is a strong business and financial model supported by a strong business case. How has the opportunity been designed? How are you going to deliver it to market? And how will it deliver value to stakeholders? How is it going to scale and change into the future? And how is it going to be financed? We want to see, a holistic view of your business idea and how it's going to propagate into the future. Your solutions can be a standalone business, or it can be something that integrates into an existing business. But it's important that when you're doing this, you think about measurability. Many of the judges you're pitching to are finance experts. So imagine that you're pitching to an investment committee. The final round judges are CFOs and finance executives, so they're very savvy. So make sure you do your homework and your due diligence with your ideas. Your financial models must address how it's going to be funded, the social and economic outcomes, and don't just be focused on the expected outcome. We're living in a world that nobody could have predicted. So it's important that you identify the sensitivities and risks to your ideas and show that they are robust. Your business models must address value proposition to the customers, identify any key partners or channels, how is revenue going to be generated, and what's your cost structure. And I think a last point to really put forward is don't build up to your idea when you're presenting it. Be upfront and say, this is our idea. Then explain the value proposition and give your justifications through your business models, your financial models, and your overall environmental and social impact. This will provide you with a much more compelling case, and it allows the judges to more easily follow your logic process. And of course, be clear about your risk mitigating strategies. I guess one other thing I want to add here is last year's event was also a virtual event, and the videos that were submitted were posted on the Prince's A4S YouTube page. So we'll post a link to that afterwards. But there, if you want to get an idea of what past presentations have looked like, that will be a great place to kind of get a reference. And let me just come back here. So some advice from past teams. Research your business model extensively. The judges were very knowledgeable and quizzed us on different risks. Make sure your financial model is well explained. Judges quiz us on the sustainability of the model thoroughly. And the third one we have here, try to build a diverse team with different perspectives. Our team came from work experiences in the steel manufacturing, oil and gas, social impact, and investment banking. I think these are all great suggestions. The ideas that you're coming forward with, the solution that you're coming forward with won't be straightforward. They'll need perspectives from different angles, and having a team that will allow you to put those together will definitely allow you to put forward a stronger presentation. I'd like to thank everyone. A4S and the ICC have several social media and places where you can follow us and stay informed. We're on Twitter. There's the LinkedIn. There directly for the competition. There's the A4S ICC at Rotman email. I check that several times a day. So if you reach out there with any questions, I'll be happy to get back to you. You can also post questions on the website, and they go to that same email. There's the accountingforsustainability.org website, which Andrew referenced earlier. And then there's the case competition website. And lastly, we'll open up to questions and answers, but I did mention it earlier, the prizes. So this year, the first place team will receive 10,000 Canadian dollars, and we have a second place prize of 5,000 Canadian dollars for the teams. So thank you, everyone, and I think we can open this up for questions now. And oh, I see a Q&A here, so let me pull that up. Okay, so I see a question here. Could you give a little more detail on the executive summary that will be submitted on January? Its format and key things to include. That's a great question. We do have information on that on the case document that will be posted following this session. So either today or over the weekend. And in there we have detailed outline of what we would like you to include in that executive summary. And let me pull up the chat. There'll be a few questions in there. Oh, great question. The next question is, how are the teams going to be assigned? That's a great question. We're asking you to submit, to form your own teams. So teams should be between, I believe it's 2 and 5 people, but it's up to you to put together your team. The only requirement for teams is that all members must be students, so either in undergrad or in their post-secondary. Team members don't have to be at the same university. So if you have friends at a different university that you'd like to collaborate with, that is also welcome. All right, going on to the next question. Could you provide some past cases for us? The best I can do at this point is we'll provide a link to the videos that were submitted for last year's case competition. And I think those would provide a good reference point for past cases. All right, I see another one here. Hi, are there any restrictions or criteria that must be met regarding the people on the team? So as mentioned earlier, the main criteria are that all members are students at the time of the competition. And that's pretty much it. They have to be either undergraduate or postgraduate. But as long as you are in university and you are currently enrolled at the time of the competition, that's fine. And let me, okay, just going through the chat now. Okay, Andrew just saying, yeah. Okay, thanks, Andrew. And if you're looking for, I guess, past case prompts, I guess we could make those available as well. I see a question here. Do we need a staff to lead? Some schools do have staff that help teams and help organize them. That is not necessary. So if your school doesn't provide any sort of organizing in that sense, that's not a problem. You can just get together some of your classmates, put together a team, and submit provide your submission by January 30th. That's fine. We've just got another question coming in. So are we talking about one solution that tackles both supply chain resiliency and climate change, or can these be 2 independent solutions? We're looking for one idea that would tackle the 2 of them. We want to find an idea that addresses supply chain resiliency, but as you're doing so, you're also being cognizant of the impact on climate change. I don't want to be too prescriptive. We're really looking for the best ideas. If you can find 2 things that are closely linked, that are within the same business model, but they're perhaps 2 products, I don't see that being, I see that being okay, but it should, you're not pitching 2, there's not 2 separate pitches. You have one idea that you want to pitch to the judges, and however that's structured, I'll leave that to you. But it should be one business model that you're pitching to the judges. I don't see any other questions coming in. Andrew, is there anything that I missed or anything else that you'd like to add to the group?
No, I think there is that one question listed, but I think just while I have the floor, we're always looking forward to just seeing what the innovative business ideas that are going to come forward, and really just understanding like the profitability and how is it actually going to work, and really it's market-based solution. So I think, Alex, as you said, I just think we're just really looking forward to an interesting competition with trying to solve this problem.
Yeah, thank you. Another question came in. Can we propose a solution, or can we propose a solution to an existing company, or do we have to assume we're pitching a new company? Great question. It could be both. So if your solution is into an existing company, that's fine. Just make sure you describe your business model, how it works with that company. Or if you have a standalone company that's brand new, that is fine as well. So either or. Okay, and there's just a post in the chat. So the chat with Brian Lawson at the A4S Summit that we made reference to will provide more insight into how supply chain resilience reduces vulnerability to climate change. So that will be a great opportunity. So Brian Lawson will be one of the final judges. So if you want to kind of get inside the head of who's going to be judging at the final competition, that'll be a great opportunity to see how he's thinking about these issues. Okay, we got another question coming in. Hi, just to confirm, the way to participate is through submission, but not through live presentation. Yes, that's correct. So the way the competition is structured is the first round is the submission due January 30th. Those submissions will be reviewed by a panel that is representative of that has representatives from the sponsor. So there'll be somebody from OTPP, or the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan, Brookfield Asset Management, CPA Canada, and they will review all those submissions. From those submissions, the top teams will be selected. And we haven't finalized exactly how many teams, but we will communicate that to you, will be selected to come to the finals. And those teams that are selected to come to the finals will have to put together a presentation. Those presentations, as you're making reference to, will not be live. We're looking for video presentations. We find that much easier with people with many different time zones to handle. The teams that make it to the finals there will be a live Q&A session for the final round of the finals. All right, we have another question here. Do we have a limitation to the number of applications in January? I'd say the only limitation is 1 per team. If there's multiple teams per school, that's not a problem. If there's 5 teams at one school, 7 teams at another school, and 1 team at another school, that's not a problem. It's just one application per team. So there's a question: can we participate in the competition in multiple years, as each year has a different theme? So I think what this question is trying to ask, and correct me if I'm wrong, either in the chat or just post up another question, is if you participated in the A4S in the past, can you participate again this year? And I don't see any issue with that. I think that would be fine. Because yes, the themes are different every year, and I don't think there's a significant advantage or insight into what the case topic is by participating in multiple years. Did I answer your question? Great. Okay. All right, so I've gone through all the questions. If anybody else has any other questions, feel free to post them. And otherwise, this session is going to be posted. So again, if you want to look over anything again, or you missed one of the questions, you can go back there. If you have friends who want to see the video, feel free to direct them towards the link. And if there are no further questions, I thank you everyone for your time. Really appreciate you coming out. We're really excited for this year's event. And just so we're all clear, this year's event is a virtual event. There won't be a live session. Hopefully in 2022, the A4S ICC will be live again, and we'll be able to pull people together in person. We'll have live networking sessions and a great event. But we're doing our best. I think this is the world that we're living in, and we're looking forward to hosting a great virtual conference again. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I'll stick around for a few more minutes if any other questions do come in, but I think that's all we have to say, and we really appreciate you making the time. Thanks a lot. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Closing down.